Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, something that continues to capture my attention is the number of new players or newish players that we have in the division. Now, when I say new player, I mean somebody who has spent maybe a few hundred hours so far playing the game. If you talk about, say, a veteran player, you've probably hit somewhere around the 500 hours all the way through 1,000 hour mark. And I think at that point, we can start talking about you being a veteran player or whatever. Now, what's even better is a lot of the comments that these players even make regarding some systems and mechanics they had no idea about. And so it's really interesting to be making these videos to point them to some of the right direction in terms of builds, mechanics, and just, quick, tips and tricks. Today, I wanted to show you guys my favorite farming build for open world. Now, open world farming is actually one of the more powerful farming tools in the game. You can farm targeted loot, you can farm control points, you can use it for all kinds of different things in terms of building up or leveling up your character. And so it's actually a very huge resource. And when you're running around the open world, if you're doing heroic or challenging, you really need a reliable build because of how, in a sense, unpredictable it is. Because even if you may have specific tasks that you're trying to pull off, there might be other things that spill over. Say, for instance, you're trying to take a resource convoy. Well, the resource convoy is standing in front of a territory control. Now, everything has just kind of dropped into the entire mix, and you're having to deal with all of it. So you need a build that's effective. You need a build that can keep you safe, because those particular tasks, a lot of them in the open world, they will spawn away if you die in between or in the middle of doing them. Now, my build is a skill build, and I know there will be a lot of different questions and answers, or even different, I would say, suggestions. So if you're a veteran, in the comment section, you can go out there and drop some, suggestions as well. So this particular setup is what I've used on PC for the longest time. My RNG on PC is absolute crap. I've been playing and grinding and struggling literally for the entire few, I guess 1,000 hours or so that I've put on my PC characters. Both of them, I have another entire account on PC, and the RNG is just as bad. It's insane. But I'm using two pieces of Hanayu because I get 10% skill haste and 10% skill damage. And I'm using three pieces of Empress International because I'm getting skill health, skill damage, and skill efficiency. Now, another really interesting thing is I've thrown in a Wyvern because I get 10% skill damage, and I'm using Glass Cannon on my chest piece, including skill damage rolled on everything, and I'm using Combined Arms, the perfect version. So Perfect Combined Arms is found in a backpack that's called Force Multiplier. It is a Hanayu backpack, so Hanayu is the brand set, and its job is, it says, shooting an enemy increases total skill damage by 30% for 3 seconds. So you can continue to shoot, and this will help you. On my weapons, I use Future Perfect on my assault rifle. Basically, weapon kills grants one skill tier for 15 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. Now it says weapon kills at skill tier 6 will grant overcharge for 15 seconds, and overcharge basically takes your skills from whatever level it is all the way to the moon. Basically, it literally shoots off a whole different level of your skill. Where's overcharge here? Well, I guess if we go into the skill, you're basically going to see what the overcharge values are. So this is skill tier 6. You're doing 120% damage, 420% health on the drone. If you hit overcharge, the damage goes on this turret to 175% damage and 560% health. So if you can achieve overcharge, I think it's something that you can maybe try to pursue, but honestly, no need to really bother. If you have a lot of what I already have set up here, you should be fine. And if by any chance you hit overcharge, enjoy it. I hit overcharge from time to time, and I always usually am surprised. I'm like, oh wow, I just hit overcharge, yay. And then I use the Perfect Harmony. This is a rifle that you can get from any of the caches. I think it's like the season reward caches, or you have to get it in the Dark Zone. It's a DZ exclusive, or you can buy it from the Dark Zone vendor. Well, it's not a DZ exclusive if you can get it from the season caches now, is it? But you have a likelihood of it dropping in the DZ. I wouldn't bother going in there anyways, because you could just use the other assault rifle that actually has it as well, that you don't have to go into the DZ for. It's called the Test Subject. It also has Perfectly in Sync. But Perfectly in Sync basically grants you, it says if you hit an enemy, and you get 20% skill damage for 5 seconds, and if you use a skill, or damaging an enemy with a skill grants you 20% weapon damage for 5 seconds. Damage increases are doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. So it's actually something really cool. Even a lot of DPS players with the, red DPS build are using In Sync, and I think, that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. Now, this build is unimpressive. I get it. It doesn't have all of the wonderful pieces rolled on there, but it's obvious, like I said, my RNG on PC is trash. Now, let me show you my PlayStation character and how I run this same or a similar version of this build with much better items. In fact, the rolls are just beautiful. Now, this is how I run it. I use this particular setup here, where I have similar items, but I've decided to add the Memento backpack to this one. And I have a Hana-Yu mask, and I have a Hana-Yu holster, both of them with skill damage and skill haste, which is this is basically the prime target that you want for a build like this. Skill damage and skill haste. Just let them roll on everything. So if you notice, all of these items have got skill damage and skill haste. Even though they may not be perfect, they are somewhat better than, they're actually miles better than what you saw on my PC character there. Now, I know everything is not yet maxed rolled, but guess what? I've been able to find some items that are going to replace these. I found an Empress mask that I'm going to go ahead and remove the weapon handling and roll skill haste on. And I found a Hana-Yu knee pad, that has skill haste and skill damage. And I'm going to go ahead and max out the skill damage on this mask, which brings me to the 2 Hana-Yu and 3 Empress International. But instead of a Wyvern chest piece with glass cannon, I'm using an Empress chest piece with glass cannon, and now I have the Memento backpack in this one. Now, honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of using the Memento because I just want to sit in cover. Like I said, the unpredictable nature of the open world really does make for it, kind of interesting at the end of the day. But you got to do what you got to do. You get out there and, you beat up bad guys, and, you pretty much get your XP or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I think that's basically the entire point of all of this. And so, in my opinion, I think a skill build really does, work very well for open world. But again, it still goes on to something that is your own preference in that sense. So that's pretty much how I strongly think, these should be run. Now, keep in mind, you also saw in my PC character that I rolled a red item on one of my, I think it was my holster when, I was showing you guys that, example just now. My holster basically has a red for just weapon damage. I went ahead and made that change because a lot of you were hounding me about it and said, yo, your technician gives you 1 skill tier, and it does. Now, you also notice that even on my PlayStation account, just now, I didn't necessarily change anything, but I am running, in my opinion, nonetheless, I'm running other specializations for this particular build. And right now, it's really helpful for me because it's helping me to farm the open world. And I'm getting my firewall specialization and my gunner specialization, both of them, I'm getting them maxed out at this point. But this is my idea of my favorite build for open world runs. And I think right now it's serving me very well. I'd love to see what your ideas are in the comment section. Those of you who are veterans, what setups you use and how you apply them. I didn't mention the capacitor. I use that also to improve my damage, if you're wondering, weapon classes. And also I use an assault rifle with spike. And yes, I have the rifle that has the perfect spike talent. But, for some reason, it doesn't necessarily register that, hey, this perfect spike is going to be giving you more bang for your buck. And I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, pay attention a little bit and actually use that weapon in order for me to be able to leverage a little bit more, because perfect spike, it gives you headshots grant 25% skill damage for 15 seconds, whereas regular spike grants you 20% skill damage for 15 seconds. So the extra 5% is absolutely worth using. And I'm going to go ahead and just throw that on there right now to kind of make the build even much better than it already is. All right, thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys for watching the video. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you have any suggestions, those of you who are veterans, also leave them in the comment section as well. Thank you very much. Peace out.